Hello, this is Arash Vossoughi. I have such a powerful, important video for you today. And I know you're going to love it, but I know you're going to create so many breakthroughs from it. Selling your way to wealth. Now, when I say that, what is your relationship with selling? Did you kind of shrink? Did you trigger? Do you say, I hate sales? Like, what came through your mind? But I want to change your attitude in relationship to what selling is. Selling is about service. Selling is what you do for people, not to them. And selling is how you can transform other people's lives. Selling is about leading people into action. Most people hate selling, and that's exactly why they're broke. They have a business, yet they have a poor relationship with selling. You see how they're out of harmony? You can't scale a business unless you understand how great your idea, product, and service is. It is our obligation, if we have something good, to get it in as many people's hands as possible. And that's the attitude that I want you to have regarding selling. The truth is, if you can't sell your ideas, your value, your vision, you will always be underpaid. And selling is the highest paid profession in the world, or it's the lowest based on your skill set, your belief system, and your relationship with it. Selling isn't about manipulation, it's alignment. It's about taking people from where they are to where they want to go with your idea, product, or services. But the first person you have to sell every day is yourself. You have to sell yourself that I'm going to have the most amazing day, that I'm going to beat my personal best today. And when you master selling, you will unlock the single most powerful skill for building real, permanent, long-lasting wealth. I used to believe wealth was about working harder, grinding my way. So that's what I did. I worked long hours, I'd burn out, I'd start and stop, and I always felt stuck. Maybe some of you can relate to that. Everything changed when I learned how to sell. And I learned from some of the best minds in the world. I had a great mentor in Bob Proctor. Him and I would be working on the psychology of selling all the time. He's the one who taught me that until you sell someone, you can't help them. I studied a great book called Selling You by Napoleon Hill. It took all of Napoleon Hill's work and everything around salesmanship and put it in one book. I highly encourage you to study it. But the moment I got good at communicating value, of really understand the opportunity and responsibility that I had, that when I work with somebody, my job is to help them get to where they want to go. But in order to do that, I first had to sell them. Everything shifted. Clients showed up. Income exploded. But selling taught me how to lead, not just lead others, lead myself first. It taught me how to persuade people on their terms. What I mean by that is nobody does anything for your reasons. They do it for their reasons. So I got them really connected to their wants. I always say a great sales professional, and hear my word professional, is a want creator. They're bringing out the want that other people, their prospects, their clients are suppressing. And you show them how to create opportunities out of thin air. Wealth doesn't show up because I worked harder or because you worked harder. It shows up because I learned how to sell with belief and integrity. Now that is critical. You have to only sell your idea, product, or service if it is going to benefit your prospect, your client, or your referrals. Now let's go back to what I said earlier. The first person I had to sell was myself. Success is about the ability to lead yourself, the ability to sell yourself on what's possible, what skill set that you are developing, and how well you are at your craft. I want you to see yourself as the best in the world at what you do. The ability to develop yourself is true success. Now, when you learn how to sell, you're going to have big money flowing into your life. But big money is an effect to great value. I want you to really become obsessed with increasing your value obsession. Now, in order to sell, we have to understand who we are and the value we provide that is what creates money. So understand, who am I, what am I selling, and am I working in harmony with the laws of compensation? The law of compensation states that you get paid in direct proportion to the service you render, your ability to render that service, and the need for it in the marketplace. But the only part that I focus on is my ability to do it. Now, this may be the first time you're watching me on YouTube, or you've been watching me for years. Now, the one thing I will tell you, all I focus on is my ability to do it. I get so locked into the repetition of getting better and better at my craft. And my craft is about communication. I want to increase how I communicate to people. The more I can connect and align at where they're receiving the communication, that's called connection. And then listening. You don't listen with your ears, you listen with your emotions. Somebody could be telling you something, but you feel something different inside of you. I want you to trust that feeling and ask better and better questions. But now, going back, you may think that this is the 100th time I've heard him, he's been better before. Maybe that's true, but it's not because of effort. Focus on your ability to do it and practice your craft, practice your presentations over and over and over again, and I promise you, you're gonna get rewarded. Now, wealth is a spiritual idea. You have to learn to operate on the higher spiritual plane. So you don't operate where your prospects paradigm is. You focus on getting your prospects to the result. So you want to bring them up to what's possible and get them to think, feel, and act from their goal already achieved. Now, you can absolutely create your own economy. I share this story to thousands and thousands of people, and I keep sharing it because my clients told me this story they could relate to so well, and it activated them. When I was failing, I was sitting in a room in Scottsdale, Arizona. My mentor, he wasn't my mentor at the time, but I was at a seminar called Create Your Own Economy. And my mentor, Bob Proctor's up there, and he puts the slide up. And I'm sitting right in the front. And it says, you can create your own economy. And I was like, is that possible? I mean, you got to understand, I was failing, I was insecure, I lacked confidence, and I didn't know what I wanted at that time. Yet this man puts a slide on that says, you can create your own economy. I couldn't stop thinking about this. And then the very next slide he puts up, it says, you can turn your annual income into your monthly income. Now, you got to imagine where I was, and maybe you're in the place that I was, where it sounded too good to be true. Like, you may be exact, that's what I was thinking. But what happened for me, for the next 2 weeks, if I told you that I thought I was going to create my own economy, I'd be lying to you. If I thought that I was going to turn my annual income to my monthly income, then I'd be lying to you. But something activated inside of me. I couldn't stop thinking of this idea. And it became an obsession that I started thinking, what if I could do this? I started playing with the impossible idea in my mind and turned it possible. But I can tell you that you can absolutely create your own economy, and selling is the way to do it. But I will also tell you, you've got to fall in love with this idea of creating your own economy. You've got to fall in love with the idea of service. Now, I've done it so many times over, and my clients have done it. I was at an event that we host called World Class Wealth, and I had about 10 or 12 people that I brought on stage who had worked with me over the last 12 months, and they earned 7 figures. And I gave them an award. They were just ordinary people like you and me who now are doing extraordinary things. Why? Because I taught them through all my processes and frameworks, and I gave them a system. Now, if I'm looking at you right now, you're doing a lot of things right. Now, most people don't understand that. You're just missing one system. And that's what I work with my clients, and that's what I'm showing you here today. But understand, one idea can change the course of your life. I had a bunch of one ideas. I shared with you earlier. One of them was that I was going to create my own economy. The other one was selling. When I really understood selling is something you do for people, not to them, that selling is about leading people into action and selling is about helping, it just changed my whole life. It absolutely transformed me. But I want you to understand, and I want you to commit, and I want you to put in the notes, are you ready to turn your annual income into your monthly income? But I don't just want them in your notes. I want you to put it in the chat. I want you right now to own your power and type in the chat right now that I am ready. And that is telling the universe you are serious. Now, you have to understand what got you here won't get you there. And the truth is, what got you here won't keep you here because the world is changing so fast. I'm 48 years old, and at the time of this recording, I have never seen the world change as fast as it is. That's why our mindset is so important. But I want you to understand selling is about creating an environment that encourages people to buy. You want to really sell based on value, really sell based on integrity. But people buy for one reason and one reason only. They feel like it. They don't buy because of the money. They buy because your product, idea, or service is offering something that's going to get them to the result they want. When you are in a selling environment, that is an environment that you want to increase sales. You get people you are selling to focus on all the positive aspects that you have to offer. And then show them all the things that they're going to miss out by saying no to your offer. Now that's the big part that most salespeople don't do. A lot of salespeople, really good salespeople, will focus on what the result will create, but they never show them 6 months from now, if you don't do what I'm suggesting, this is what the opportunity cost is going to cost you. It's going to cost you another wasted 6 months of your life. It's going to cost you plateauing. But what it will give you at the same time is freedom. It's going to give you X result of whatever your idea, product, or service is. Most people don't understand selling. That's why they're trying to get people to buy. You never try to get people to buy. Once you have your meeting with a prospect, if you're doing it properly, you've already sold them before you're even on the phone or in a meeting or in person or on Zoom with them or on a webinar. But most people don't understand this, so they're always trying to manipulate people to buy. When you do that, you're saying, my product can help you, I want to help you, but really, subconsciously, you're sending out a double binding message that says, I want to take from you. The more you try to get people to buy, the more they resist. Remember, people buy for their reasons. But if you will divorce yourself from the outcome, you will multiply your sales. I'm going to say this again. This is so important. You want to be neutral. You've already sold them in your mind. Now you focus all your energy on how to help them. But if you will divorce yourself from the outcome, you will multiply your sales. I have a great client that I'm working with on her sales. And she was telling me, I've had such struggle. I give great presentation, but I'm not getting anyone to the finish line. So I was asking her, and I said, well, what are you doing? I said, are you judging? Are you attached to the results? She goes, Arash, I'm both of those. And I said, that's all we have to release. You remember when I said, you're doing a lot of things right, you're just missing one system? Well, that was her system. Since then, her sales have multiplied. But when you disconnect your need for the prospect to buy, that's when they're more likely to buy. If your audience doesn't know you, they won't trust you and they won't believe you. So when we're talking to a cold prospect, you don't want to give them the positive aspects. Instead, warn them about the negative outcomes of what they're currently doing. Why do I say that? Because most people are programmed for negativity. Now, if you've already been working with clients, or this is a referral and it's a warm referral, I want you to talk to them about the positive aspects. And when they trust you, they will buy from you. When you warm them up about a negative outcome, they are more likely to believe you. Why? Because people are more negative than positive, as I said earlier. It's easier for people to believe something bad than something good. That's just programming. That's why only 3% of the population are creating great results, and only 3% of the population earn 97% of the income when 100% should. But now let's look at this. Let's say you're selling right now and you want to improve your sales. What would happen if you took your sales conversion and just doubled it? Let's say your close rate right now is at a 10% and you wanted to take it to a 20%. So I want you to think about that. It's a 10%, you want to take it to a 20%. Now, what is going to take you from a 10 to 20%? And I want you to think about that. Well, let me show you this. So let's say right now, these are your sales numbers. Okay, let's say on average, every month you close 10 sales right now. But you want to double your results. You want to take it to 20 sales. Now, if you didn't get any better at what you do right now, you didn't get any better at your craft, how would you go from 10 to 20 sales? Well, the first thing you want to do is double your leads. If you just doubled your leads, you will, let's say you got 50 leads a month. And this is where I'm saying that you haven't even changed anything about your mindset, your presentation, but you want to double your sales. This is all you have to do. You've got to take it to 100 leads. With the same skill set, you will, just by doubling your leads at the same 10% closing conversion, you will, guess what? Double your results. So now you put your mind and think, how can I double my leads? Well, right now, the best way I could tell you is maybe you're not putting enough offers. Maybe you're not asking for sales. So what type of offers could you increase? You could work on your lead generation. You could work on your core product offers. So ask yourself, am I putting enough, am I planting enough seeds in the marketplace? But then let's say, you know what, Arash, I'm going to take what you're saying serious. I'm going to work on my ability to do it and get so good at my craft. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my close percentage from 10% to 20%. Well, how would I do that? Well, the first thing I would recommend you do is change how you communicate to the client. Focus only on the result that they want to get. Forget about what you're going to get and divorce yourself from the outcome. And then practice your presentation every day, until you're so good at it. You want to get so good at that. Then communicate the opportunity cost of what it will cost them if they don't do it. What it will cost them. If you were having the same results 6 months from now, how would you feel? I don't want you to feel that way. I want to show you that if you will follow my direction and do exactly what I tell you, I will show you how to get X result. And then what you're doing, just by doing these few things, is you're going to jump your close percentage. So now your sales are going to jump. Why? Because your skill set and strategy have jumped. But also your mindset has increased. So what we have to understand is the wealth formula is always be, do, have. People have to become more, then they will have more. But most people want to have more, and they never focus on becoming more. So they're doing the same presentations without practicing their craft. You know, the elite of elite work on their craft until they can't get a presentation wrong. The average work on their presentation until they get it right once. Is that you? So work on your craft. Right now, there is a gap between who you are and who you can become. That gap is always identity. The stronger your identity, the stronger your confidence. The only way to fill the identity gap is with intentionality. We want to be so intentional that you are going to double your conversion and double your sales. And if you implement, how can I double my leads? How can I put more offers out there? How can I improve my presentation? Just practice it over and over again, but change your language. Focus on the outcome they desire, not what you're going to get. Focus on showing them the opportunity cost. Unfortunately, most people are not intentional. So people constantly are focusing on distractions so they don't have to put attention on the fact that their life isn't working, that they're not creating what they really want, and their hidden commitment is always giving themselves excuses, always protecting themselves from what they want the most so they stay comfortable. But what if you were intentional and made a committed decision with me today that you're creating a world-class life, that your life, and I want you to future pace with me. I want to take you out 12 months, that by improving your sales, you are going to create so much more freedom. How would that feel? What would it be like if you lived with complete peace of mind, that your self-worth went through the roof, and that now you have amazing experiences because you're creating enormous impact? It would change you forever. It changed me forever. That's why I said one idea changed my life. I'll tell you a story. One day, it was early in my career, and I'm in a seminar with my mentor, Bob Proctor. It's Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And he says, he used to call me kid. He said, "Hey kid, who did you sell today?" And I thought he was joking. He was not joking. And I said, "It's only 9 a.m., but it's Sunday." He said, "No, that's where you got it wrong." He said, "Selling has to be a part of your paradigm. Selling has to be like brushing your teeth." And it changed my identity in that moment. Even though I didn't change, I accepted that idea. And years later, I'd be on vacation, totally off, and people would call me, I'd sell automatically. That's what I want for you. But most people reject this idea because it is out of harmony with their current programming. We want to make it in harmony with your programming. If you're going to reprogram yourself, you have to understand, what is my current programming? And then step 2 is remove it. Step 3 is replacing it. To reprogram yourself takes time, but it is so worth it. I'm telling you, you're going to have people constantly referring you. You're going to have more money that you're going to do so much more good with. But what you're going to do is create real, long-lasting impact. But understand, to reprogram yourself takes time, but I'm telling you, it is the worthiest thing you could do for yourself. But if you're ready to sell your way to a life of freedom and abundance, I want you to hit subscribe and drop "I sell with power" in the comments. I sell because I love helping people in the comments. But if you're serious about mastering high-level influence and becoming a magnet to money, check the link in the description. I'll walk you through how to turn your message into your income and conviction into cash flow. Remember, selling isn't just about how you make money, it's how you serve people, and it's how you unlock your future flow. But selling is about service, it's about value, and it's about really leaving such an indent in the marketplace and helping people. Everything is about living the impression of increase. But I want to take you back to what I shared, because you want to understand this. And I highly encourage you, download Emerson's essay on the law of compensation. The law of compensation states that you get paid in direct proportion to the service you render, the need for it in the marketplace, and your ability to do it. The ability to do it is going to be a game changer. Work on your mindset, change your attitude towards selling. Now, I'll give you a great affirmation that I've given a lot of my clients who had a bad relationship to selling. So I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a phenomenal relationship with selling. Selling is about helping people. Selling is what I do for somebody. And selling is about leading people into action to create their result. If that is you, do the affirmation over and over and over again. Selling creates wealth. Selling is about service. Watch this video. Subscribe, like, refer this to as many people, and let's absolutely explode your sales. Thank you so much.